Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to Muscleup Monday. I am Star Emily. I am so excited for today's topic. I cannot wait. I am going to kind of debunk some of the protein myths that are out there. And I also have a couple of really good book recommendations for you on how to get started, especially with nutrition and just making better lifestyle choices for yourself. So, with that, I want to also thank everyone for being here. I've actually gotten a couple new subscriptions on YouTube this week, as well as many other followers this week on Instagram. Things are going awesome, and I so appreciate all the support. It means the world. So thank you, thank you, thank you. This is so cool, and I love doing it. So with that, let's dive in. Okay. So when we think about protein, we know that protein is really important. And you're told it all the time. And when you go into supermarkets, you see it constantly everywhere. Like, this has more protein and protein fortified and blah, 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 right? And so we think we need all this excess protein. And that's definitely not true. So let's first start off with just some basic knowledge and talk about what actually a protein is. And a protein is actually part of a macronutrient that makes up our calories. So you have fats, carbohydrates, and then you have proteins. And proteins are actually small compounds that are called amino acids. And there's hundreds of amino acids that are out there. And the body can actually produce 11 of those naturally, which leaves a remaining 9, which is called the essential amino acids. And that has to actually come from food. Those 9 essential amino acids must come from food. So that puts us into the myths. And one of the myths is that protein can only come from meat, eggs, and dairy. That is absolutely, positively not true. This is actually a very logical myth if we just stop and think about it. Where do we think the animals that we generally consume get their protein? So where do the animals actually get their protein? Well, they eat plants and they eat grass, and there's lots of other plant-based proteins that are out there. So the fact that it can only come from meat, dairy, or eggs is just completely not true. There are other sources of proteins out there that you can consume. You're not getting enough protein, especially if you are plant-based, vegetarian, or vegan. Myth number 2. Definitely not true. If I seriously, all the time, because I eat more plants than I do animals, but again, I am not a vegan, just to clarify. It's very interesting to me because, again, it goes back to the myth 1. There are plant-based proteins that are out there, and a lot of it comes from lentils, legumes. Beans are huge. They definitely provide a major source of protein, as well as pea proteins, hemp proteins. There's a lot of different ones out there that are plant-based that provide a vegan, a vegetarian, or a plant-based eater with more than enough and will contain those 9 essential amino acids in those foods. One of the third myth that we get is the more the better. Well, not exactly. Again, more protein is really hard on the kidneys for us and to function. And the recommended daily value of a calorie diet is 2,000 grams, right? So really, our bodies only need 50 grams of protein in a day. And the body itself can only process up to 25 to 30 grams at one time. So a lot of the times we're consuming way more than enough protein than maybe sometimes our bodies can even actually process. So really, truly about 50 grams if you're eating a 2,000 calorie diet. And I will definitely recommend to you something that I still use to this day. from the time that I started to lose my weight to the time that even now today, I log everything I eat through MyFitnessPal. Even though I am more plant-based, I don't really need to worry about those calories and that kind of thing and keeping track, but I just like to know for my own peace of mind. Let's put it that way. So when I do that, I can definitely say now that app totally helps me keep because I'm so sorry for the confusion. The FitnessPal will keep track of your macronutrients, and it will actually list out like where you are with grams and that kind of thing. That's what I wanted to say. Okay, so moving on, myth number 4. You need it to build muscle. No, you don't. So being someone who started out, and I was an athlete, and still am to this day, I consider myself that. I am very active. I love working out. I love food, without a doubt. Believe me, you can just ask my fiance. He'll totally confirm it. I do. I love food. So, but thinking that you need all that protein to actually build muscle, and that was a very common thing that I fell into because I just thought that's what I heard from all bodybuilders and other athletes that I was associating myself with. They're like, oh yeah, you got to take in like your weight in protein. No, you don't. No, you don't. If you're already, because we need more calories when you're an athlete and when you're a bodybuilder or whatever the case may be, when you are that kind of athlete, you already are burning energy at such a high rate. It is. It's a very high rate. And the more you're automatically then increasing your calories, and naturally you're just automatically going to be taking in the more protein. So you really don't need to worry about that quite so much. And then the 5th myth that I have for us today is that high protein diets alone will help you lose weight. And that is absolutely not true. While protein can help you feel fuller longer after a meal, it's because it digests more slowly than a carbohydrate does. So it's not really a magic weight loss tool. Protein, like carbohydrates and fats, does contain calories, and it's the amount of calories that you consume no matter where they come from. So input equals output. So if you're really wanting to, lose the weight or that kind of thing, the bottom line is you need to be putting out more calories than you are putting in. It's the number one golden rule, and it is so simple. It is so simple. So just remember that when it comes down to the nitty-gritty. So with that, I would like to recommend to you some books that I feel have definitely helped and gave some clarification more in depth to that. So please hold. The first book is by Kathy Preston. I first heard about her from a podcast that I listened to from my athletic hero, Rich Roll. And she was absolutely amazing. I love her. P.S. If you don't subscribe to the Rich Roll podcast, I highly recommend that you do. It's all about balanced living, eating properly. I absolutely adore him and his wife and his 4 kids. They are just absolutely amazing people. So, but as you see in this title, this says veganist, right? So you think this is all about a vegan diet, and it's not. It's all about someone who is looking closely at the implications of their food choices and choosing to lean into a plant-based diet. So this talks about how you can get there, how you can incorporate more fruits, veggies, whole grains, which is part of the plant-based diet. And you can make your own choices. Like I said, there are certain meats that I still eat. There are certain meats that I absolutely don't eat anymore. And I totally fit and healthy, just saying. So, and then also too, one of the other parts of this is about progress, not perfection. So this book really is amazing and I highly recommend it. The second book that like just my mind, The China Study. I learned about this doctor, Dr. T. Colin Campbell, from a documentary because I'm completely obsessed with health documentaries. And this is 100% the most complete, what does it say on the exact front here? The most comprehensive study of nutrition ever conducted. And it's true. It's put into layman's terms, so definitely don't feel like it's all medical and like will go right over your head, because it definitely won't. But this is truly an amazing book. I actually have used a highlighter with this book. This book is full of knowledge that is easy to understand and absolutely 110%. It's fact. It's fact. So it's not, hearsay or, being endorsed by, some major company or anything like this. This was written by a doctor who I think is absolutely correct in all senses of the word. So highly recommend it. I buy a lot of my books on eBay because you get them super cheap. So I hope that helps for you today. Thank you so much for being here. I know I kind of ran a little long. These segments are getting a little bit more longer because I think there's just more knowledge involved in these, which, I'm happy to provide. So I hope you guys all have a fabulous Monday. I hope you muscle up. And I hope that it is a fantastic week. And if you are looking for more with me, you can definitely follow me on Instagram. I am at *Emily_Muscle-Up-Mondays. You can also check out my Pinterest boards at *EmilyM, no spaces in between that. I've got tons of boards for plant-based living, recipes, fitness workout things that I have pinned, lots of things on there that you can check out. And you can also follow me at *Emily4 on Twitter and hit me up on Facebook at *Emily. Thanks again for being here. I love you all so much. Peace and plants.